All right, let's talk about Ennis Rakestraw Jr., the cornerback out of Missouri, who the Detroit Lions decided to select with their second round pick, who, I had a first round grade on, a late first round grade, but still a first round grade on. So him falling all the way to the end of the second round, kind of a steal in my opinion. And let's talk about what I like about him and also what I dislike about him, what his flaws are, all of it. Let's just get into it, starting off with the play you see on the screen. So Tennessee is going to be running the route concept that you see, where really kind of that out route is a good one to get open. That is where Rakestraw Jr. is on this play. So, okay, you see the route he's kind of designed to cover. Well, let's see what happens. Well, right off the bat, what you're going to notice is that for him, he's reading this play pretty well, right? He sees what's happening. He's trying to, move in and get in position to make a tackle. So that's very good. I think that his reads are often very, very quick. He also is able to run over, and he's going to make a good tackle right here. Despite his size, he is a physical player. You even see him kind of give that extra bump a little bit, which, hey, the Detroit Lions kind of like that stuff. They like having a guy who is, not afraid to get his hands dirty, right? But I think more than that, they like the fact that he was able to go over and make the tackle. Listen, Rakestraw Jr., the physicality, the physical traits aren't going to wow you. The guy is 6 feet tall, but only 188 pounds, and he runs doesn't even break 4.5. So that's not ideal. But when you watch him on film, like something like this, you just see him really kind of cover guys pretty consistently. Like this, you see where he is on the screen right here. It's a one-on-one matchup. And watch how very quickly, Rakestraw has the footwork to whatever kind of routes the receivers try and run. They don't usually get a ton of separation. And his footwork is really key, which is why I do wonder if he's a slot corner. But, slot corners are kind of really underrated. I think getting, a great slot corner can really matter. To me, that's probably where I would put him because they kind of have depth at outside corner. And then maybe if you get injuries, then you throw him out to outside. But, I think if he's, kind of covering these types of routes, he can do a good job. Like something like this is another one where it's going to be an underneath route that he's supposed to cover right here, but it is a one-on-one matchup, which again, these aren't the easiest things to try and cover. But again, as you see, when he's covering this, he's able to kind of really do a great job. So I do think that, the not being the fastest corner does have some concerns, right? Because you're always worried about, well, can you get burned deep? And then if you can get burned deep, are you going to have to play off the line because you're concerned about that? Well, if you're playing more in the slot, well, then you have safety help down the field, and usually you're not covering these deep routes, so it's not really as big of a concern. At least I wouldn't be as concerned about it. So, I think that's maybe what you do, and if it is what you do, he could probably be really good at it. Like this one's another one where he's going to be kind of covering that underneath route again, but this one's a little bit more going on because watch what happens. Right off the bat, there isn't more going on. He's able to just, once again, kind of completely cover the receiver he's supposed to cover. But another thing I like about him is that if the ball's in the area, he does a pretty good job at knocking it away. Watch him be able to kind of, knock that one away. Really good ball skills. Didn't give up much separation. This is what you're often seeing with someone like Rakestraw. So again, it's the kind of thing where you might sit here and say, well, I'd rather the guy who is, maybe 20 pounds heavier and can run a 4.3. Okay, sure, I would too, but at the same time, I'd rather more so the guy who's just a good football player than anything else. And I would also say that while I'm kind of saying slot corner, at the same time, the Lions play a lot of cover 2 zone. All the stuff could work as cover 2 zone. I do think I'd be a little concerned if he was playing, in Baltimore where they rely so much on their corners, but he's not, so I'm not as concerned about it. I don't think that the potential getting burned downfield is that big of an issue because I think he won't be in those situations very often. And he can also just do stuff like this, where it's that slant route over the middle. That's the route he's supposed to be covering. And watch him be able to when the ball goes in this direction. Okay, he's reading the play well. Like I said, smart player. He's very rarely out of position. And, I've even brought up the potential of him getting burned down to field. I don't even know if that's totally fair because it's not like I've seen that. It's just, hey, there's better athletes at the NFL level, so I can envision it happening. But the guy's a smart enough player and has good enough feet work. I don't really see him getting out of position too often. Here he comes over and is able to really close on that play really nicely. The ball comes out. Really good stuff from Rakestraw Jr. So, again, he's someone who, while I think you could certainly make the argument isn't position proof in terms of which type of corner you want him to be, that's okay because that's the case with most corners. But for some reason, when someone's like, in a certain scheme, like a zone, fits a zone scheme that like the Lions run, people act like they're not that good and should be ended of the second round. But if a guy is someone who's only good in like a man scheme, well, then people act that they should be a top 10 pick. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to really like about Rakestraw, and I am surprised he fell so far in the draft. I'm not shocked that he wasn't a first rounder, but how far he fell was surprising to me. Also, when you factor in, talk about how smart he is and how much good footwork he has. He's also just 21 years old, so there's plenty of reason to believe he could even get better at a lot of the stuff that he's already good at. Again, your speed tends to kind of be what it is at this point. It's very rare for a 21-year-old to be faster when they're 24, right? Usually you're kind of what you're at that point. I don't think he's going to get a lot heavier. He is a bit of a skinnier corner. Like, it is what it is. I also think that you might see some people saying, do they really need another corner at this point? Like, you put so much resources into it. You have Brian Branch, who's kind of more of a, not quite just an outside corner, but a really good secondary player who kind of wears a lot of different hats for Detroit. But you have Carlton Davis. You obviously drafted Terrion Arnold, which I'm assuming those are your plan to be a couple outside corners, with maybe Emmett Robinson coming in if he has to be a depth player. But like, and you also have Emmanuel Mosley, which who knows what you'll get out of him. But like, man, you just need several guys in the room. Like, it's just one of those things where secondary is so fluky year in and year out. Guys will have great seasons and then bad seasons and then great seasons again. So who knows? We all expect, I think, Terrion Arnold to come in and play well as a rookie. But what if he comes in, struggles as a rookie, but Rakestraw is doing a lot better as a rookie? Well, maybe, hey, Arnold could be the future, but let's have Rakestraw as the present. At the end of the day, I think this is the Lions, maybe their best chance to win a Super Bowl. Not that this is the only year they will have a chance, because they have a lot of young players, but this might be the opportunity for them to be as good as possible, unless they really, maybe hit some home runs in the draft, which is possible. But they have a lot of star players they have to pay, which, that matters, right? So they're kind of going with more of an all-in approach, trying to be good right now, which is smart, not mortgaging the future to do so, which is also smart, because I think they could be good for a while. But I really do think that moves like this are what can kind of separate the good teams from the great teams. I think the good teams will say, well, we're good. We have the players we need. The great teams say, well, things are going to go wrong. Let's be smart about this. He's a player who should have gone a lot earlier. He fell to us late second round, and is someone who still could come in handy. I'm sure to have an idea for a role he can play right away. And if he has to play a bigger role, then at least it's better than someone who is worse than him having to play a bigger role. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.